welcome to The Kids Are All Right, a weekly podcast specially for kids that's all about health, happiness and wellness. I'm Michelle and here with me are my co-pilots on this podcast, Buster and Buddy.
Hey guys, Buster here. Oh yeah, fan favourite Buddy coming at you.
And we're on a mission to help you all feel great and live happy.
Here we go. Hey!
The kids are all right.
So I don't know about you guys, but when coronavirus happened and everything had to stop during lockdowns, all the normal things I was used to doing day to day changed completely. And I found it really hard to deal with so many massive changes.
Yeah, Michelle, everything changed. When school had to close, at first I was like, yeah, holidays! But as the weeks went on and on, I realized how much I missed school and seeing my friends. Life has changed so much.
Yeah, I missed my hockey training and not being able to go to the cinema. I couldn't see my friends or my family. I felt my whole world had changed.
Yeah, all of us have been through so many huge changes in every aspect of our lives during coronavirus.
Yeah, you can say that again.
But let's be honest about it. Most of us are unlikely to ever have to go through so many huge changes and all at the same time again.
Well, let's hope not.
The changes the coronavirus brought were huge and unexpected. However, through our lives, things will always keep changing, and that's the one thing you can be sure of.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes it's changes we know are coming, like as we grow up and know we'll have to move from junior school to senior school. And then there are other changes like maybe moving house.
Or if a pet dies, or when a good friendship changes and you're no longer best friends. I just don't like when things change.
Yeah, I don't like when things change either, Buddy. It makes me feel nervous and worried.
Yeah, when things change, it really can be hard. And you know, it's not just kids that don't always like change. Lots of adults feel the same way too. But we can learn to be okay with change, to expect it, and to accept that it will continue all throughout our lives. That change is the real normal.
Yeah, if we know to expect it, then we won't feel like it's such a surprise, and it won't seem so scary.
Yeah, and you know, after all the changes we've been through with coronavirus, I think we have proven to ourselves how brilliant we are at change. You know, going with the flow.
Yeah, I think kids need to realise how strong they really are. So we asked you kids out there, what is the best change that's happened in your life so far?
The kids say, what?
Oh yeah! The biggest change in my life was when my baby sister Sash was born. She's really cute and makes me laugh nearly every day.
The biggest change in my life was when my mum and dad stopped working from home and moved into the garden room to work at home, and my sister moved into the attic and my brother moved into the top bunk. But he missed his old bedroom at first because he had none of the stuff in, but when his stuff moved in, it was all right.
The biggest change in my life is when we got a mobile home 2 years ago, and it's right beside the beach and we can go to the beach every day.
The biggest change in my life is when 4 years ago we got an extension on our house and I got my own room.
The biggest change of my life was when my younger brother was born and I stopped being an only child forever. At first, I thought I wasn't going to like him, but now I really like him, so it turned out to be a good change.
The kids say, what?
Oh yeah!
So that was really interesting hearing what the kids had to say about change there. So we thought it would be good to get some advice from an expert who could teach us some helpful tools to help us deal with the normal changes in life. We're delighted to have psychotherapist and best-selling author Stella O'Malley joining us. Hi Stella.
Hi, Stella.
Hi there, Stella.
Hiya, how's it going?
Huge fan.
Yeah, we've got so many questions for you.
Right.
And don't worry, Stella, look, I've supervised the lads and I've double-checked all their questions, so you don't have to worry about any silly questions like, what's your favourite colour? You know, they've got their serious faces on, I promise you.
And my big boy pants on too, Michelle.
Okay.
So, Stella, can I ask you the first question if you don't mind?
Yeah?
Okay, so I really like knowing what's going to happen every week, but when change happens, it messes everything up. What can I do about that?
There's a few things you can do. You know, people say that they are afraid of change and they hate change, and yet, you know, the truth is, the more you become aware of every day, change happens, and that's okay. the sooner that you'll feel better about it. Having said that, there's some things that you can make very regular in your day. So you might always have your favourite bowl for breakfast, or have your favourite breakfast, or you might always have your teddy at bedtime.
So basically, when changes are happening, it's important to make sure we keep doing those regular things that we like to do each day or week, those things that make us feel comfortable and safe. So is it kind of like how in lockdowns we've learned how important it is to make and keep a routine to help us stay feeling well and happy?
Yeah, as they say, control the controllables. That you have a few things that you say, right, well, I can control when I have my dinner, when I do my homework, when I go to bed, and how I go to bed, and what do I do when I go to bed, and do I read a book, and do I put on these pajamas and things like that. So you have your regulars and your safeties with that, so that there's room for other things to happen. Because if you had everything controlled, and if you knew exactly what you were doing every minute of the day, believe it or not, you'd get very bored. And sometimes if you look at some animals maybe who are living very boring lives in cages and stuff, they get very bored. They know exactly what's happening. They're getting fed, they're getting watered, and they're bored. So you do have to leave a bit of room for a bit of flexibility, so that you can have your routines, but also have a little bit of change. But when something big is happening, like you're moving school or you're moving house or something like that, you bring a bit more focus into your regulars. And you make sure to have your favourite dinner, let's say every Tuesday, or you make sure to meet your old friend every Saturday. You do a few things to kind of bring your safety blanket around you a little bit more, so that you can say, yeah, this is all part of it. Feeling nervous around change is all part of it. And yet I have my regulars.
Yeah. And isn't it really, I suppose, in a way that kids could maybe sit down with their parents and think about all the changes they've been through already in their lives. So, maybe that's starting preschool, and then they moved to primary, and maybe they did, an after school club or a dance class, and they're all different changes and things that you have already accomplished. So maybe it's kind of acknowledging the fact that, look, hey, I've already gone through changes here.
And some of the best things that ever happened to us are changes, and learning to ride a bike and learning to read, all those things are huge changes. And when we start a change, we can feel very uncomfortable. And then as time goes on, it can be the best thing in your life. So you have to leave a bit of room for a bit of fun and a bit of change.
So you're saying change is actually a good thing sometimes, and that I can control the things I control. Like my favorite dinner on Thursdays is burgers and chips, and I love them. So I can make sure that maybe Mom has burgers and chips on Thursdays.
Absolutely. You make sure you think about what you need. What are the things you need to happen during the week? And make sure that you get them. That might be bath time, or it might be story time, or it might be burger and chips on Thursday. You figure out what are the things that keep you settled, and that will keep you straight as you go through big changes. And then you're open to the big changes, and you realise, wow, some of this stuff could be brilliant.
One of my favourite things is my journal. It really literally comes everywhere with me. So I find by seeing my week written out in front of me on a page, I find just visually it comforts me that I know what I'm kind of doing, what I have to happen in that week. Does that sound a bit strange, or is that kind of part of that idea of structure and routine?
Yeah, it's very common. A lot of people love to see that. And some children might like if their mammy gets one of those kind of charts and puts it on the fridge, so they know, they've got dance on Monday or GAA on Tuesday or whatever it is they have. So some people, it can be the same as a journal. Yeah, some children love having a journal, and I really recommend it because it's really, really good for you.
Yeah, that's such good advice, Stella.
Oh, that's brilliant, because I really enjoy writing. And I've got this little journal that I just love doodling in, or I write a couple of notes about how I'm feeling every day.
Yeah, some people use pictures. Some people just literally draw pictures about how the day went, and some people are writers and they write. It's really, really good tool for anybody who's feeling a bit uncomfortable about life, a little bit uneasy about what's going on. Reading or art or any sort of kind of creativity, it's so good for you. It really is so good for you to make sense of life.
Yeah, I agree. Because, when we go through change, it really can be hard. But if we find things that we can do and ways to look after ourselves, then each time we go through a change, we get stronger.
Yeah, but the more you learn you can handle things, the more you feel able to handle things. So when you've had a problem and you've got through it and you're okay, and you realise, I'm okay, I got through that problem and I'm okay, you will feel that little bit stronger and that little bit more confident about the next problem. And each time you feel stronger and stronger. So every time you do face through a problem, whether it's getting through the lockdown happily or handling homeschool when it was hard, every time you do something, you feel stronger and more confident. So long as you're telling yourself that I did well and that I did a good job. What helps you get stronger is you telling yourself you did well, you faced through the problem, you handled it, and you'll be able for the next one. It's not just enough to get through it, you have to be nice to yourself as you get through it. And congratulate yourself for getting through it. Very important part of it.
I think the kids from the last year or so really have a lot of congratulations to give themselves, because they have been through so much change.
They really have. And so strong and so resilient. It's been really admirable, really, 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 really amazing. And I think they should all give themselves a clap on the back, because they really handled it. And what's so important is they handled it very cheerfully, very well. So I really think the kids have been amazing.
Exactly. They're stronger than they realise. And I suppose I remember hearing this saying when I was younger, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But, in this year, they have learned so much. It hasn't been nice, but they are going into their lives now feeling stronger. They will be able to handle any change that comes. Yeah,
they'll be also able to tell their grandchildren, we got 6 months off school and it was terrible. It was really difficult. Yeah. So they have that story for the rest of their lives as well.
So, other ways that kids can be ready to deal with change, I think you mentioned it earlier, was, I suppose, taking charge of the small things. So I suppose contributing to the family unit, it's kind of the sense of I can do. So maybe mums and dads need to kind of let their kids do a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's very important for everybody to feel like that they're doing a bit to make their family happy. And whatever their bit is, it might be just every morning you make your bed, might be emptying the dishwasher or putting out the plates and stuff for dinner. It doesn't matter what it is, but so long as you're part of making the family household work better, It makes you happy to feel part of things and to feel that you're just as important as everybody else, because you're contributing with everybody else.
And like one of the big changes I learned from the coronavirus was things like, making sure to appreciate my family and my friends and all the brilliant outdoor activities that are right at my doorstep, like the playgrounds, going on my nature walks, and baking homemade banana bread with my mom.
Oh no more banana bread.
Oh, Buster, come on. She only made it wrong the one time. Yeah. One of the big things, though, Stella, that Michelle's always talked to us here, is we need to be able to practice our gratitude more. What are your thoughts on practicing gratitude?
I think gratitude is really important, actually. If you're feeling worried, rather than worrying about the thing that you're thinking about, you try to name 5 things that you're happy about and 5 things that you're thankful for. And you actually have to get to number 5. And maybe you're thankful for 5 people in your life that are good to you. And that can actually bring you out of a worry. And people don't realise that, but it can actually move, because you have to go to the trouble of finding 5 things that you're happy about, 5 things you're thankful for and things. And that can move you out of the worry and into a different space. And there's a nice gratitude routine where when you wake up, the first thing you do is you keep your eyes shut and you try to list 5 things that you're happy about with your fingers. And every time you think of something that you're happy about, you might think about it for a few seconds, just a little moment. And then you might stretch your body, take your feet out of the bed, feel the contact on the floor, remember to breathe in through your nose, slow it down, breathe out through your mouth, and start the day. It can be a lovely way to start yourself off.
Oh, yeah. And so, hang on. Do you mind if I try that really quickly, Stella? I like that thing about the naming 5 things to be grateful for. So, things that I could be grateful for are, like you said, first thing in the morning, my nice warm bed. I'm thankful for my family. That's number 2. Number 3, my nice warm dinner that my mom makes, because I love food, Stella. I'm also really thankful for my rugby and my favourite player, John O'Sexton. And number 5, I guess making lots and lots of banana bread with my mom.
Oh, buddy, no more banana bread. I'm definitely going to try that tomorrow. It's going to be so good. And can there be different things every day, Stella?
They can, or they can be the same, whichever you like. It's nice to get to the number 5, because often people can't get the last one. and that makes your brain work a little bit harder. And when your brain works that little bit harder, you're definitely moving out of the worry. You're definitely moving it into, so it's crucial to try and think of the last one.
That's really interesting. And actually, Stella, we have a really important thing. It's one of our favorite parts to do. The last question that we ask all our guests. It's called
Big Me to Little Me.
So basically, if you could go back in time, what advice would Big Stella give to Little Stella?
I know exactly what I'd say to her. I would say, stop worrying. There's no need to worry. Just get some fun out of today and it'll all be okay. That's what I'd say.
That's great. That's brilliant.
I like that
Just
one.
get some fun out of today. Oh, Stella, that makes me feel so happy.
Stella, that's some great advice there. And I think the kids listening will really find this helpful the next time change comes knocking on their door. So look, thanks so much.
Oh, quickly, before
Thank
you
you.
go, Stella, I just want to ask you, what's your favourite colour?
Orange.
I knew it.
Thank you, Stella.
Bye.
Bye, Stella. Thanks for all your tools and tips.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's time to
Rewind, recap, rethink time.
Yeah.
So, we learned so much from Stella about how to deal with change, and that by understanding, change is very normal and will continue all through our lives, so we can prepare ourselves for it. And then we're ready, steady, go!
Yeah, so when change happens, we need to make sure that we keep our normal activities and routine going.
And draw or write down in a journal how we're feeling and what our plan for each day is, or even each week.
Yeah, and have a chat with Mum and Dad about all the changes we've already been through in our lives and realising just how strong we really are.
Cool. And I'm really going to try that morning gratitude routine. So, before I fully wake up, I'm going to keep my eyes closed, and for each of my 5 fingers, I'm going to count something that I'm really, really grateful for and happy to have in my life. And make sure that I get all 5, even if it takes me a little bit longer, so that I feel great at the start of my day.
It's time to
Rewind, recap, rethink time.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's that time again. It's time to tickle your funny bone.
Hi, my name's Amy. I'm 8 years old and this is my joke. Why did the math book look so sad? Because it had so many problems.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm 10 years old and this is my joke. What did the submarine say to the ship? I can see your bottom.
Hi, my name is Tess and I'm 7. Why did the pig go to karate?
I don't know. Why did the pig go to karate?
Because he wanted to be a pork chop.
Oh, that was a good one, wasn't it, Buster?
So listen, we've learned loads today. We've laughed lots and it's time to give our brains a massage. Are you guys ready for this week's mini mindfulness moment?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but wait. This week we also have 2 kids who've sent us in their mindfulness moments. Dora and Kerry, who's 6, and Ethan Toner, who's 10. So let's listen to what they like to do to relax.
This is flower breath. I have a beautiful flower in my hand. I breathe in to smell the flower, and I breathe out to blow the petals.
Hello, my name is Ethan and sometimes at school I get really anxious and worried, and sometimes I carry around a worry stone in my pocket, and then when I rub it in my pocket it takes all my worries and fears away, and this is my mindful moment.
Oh, they were brilliant. Well done, Ethan and Doran. I love them.
Yeah, well done, boys. And now it's over to Louise.
Hi everyone, hope you're all well. My name's Louise and welcome to this episode of Mini Mindfulness Moments. And in this episode, we're going to do some balloon breathing. Now I want you to put your hands on your tummy and imagine there's a balloon in your tummy. What colour is the balloon? My balloon is red. So we're going to breathe in and fill up the balloon in our tummy with air. And breathe out and let all the air go. Breathe in and fill up the balloon in your tummy with air. breathe out and let all the air go. Well done, you did so well. And remember, you can do your mini mindfulness moment anytime you like. Bye for now, and see you next time.
Oh, I feel so relaxed after that, guys. Do you know, it's been great today. Thanks to all the kids who sent in their audio clips. And do you know, if you have something you want to tell us, we want to hear. A story, a question, or your favourite joke, we'd love to hear from you. All you have to do is record it in the voice recorder app on a parent's smartphone and then email it into us. The email is in our show notes.
Yeah, and make sure to check out our website, www.thekidsarealright.ie for more details about sending in your clips, and you'll find loads of more info about the show and everything and everyone we talk to.
We really hope you enjoyed this week's show and learned loads. If so, then tell all your friends.
Yes, indeed. And remember, guys, try to be healthy,
be well,
and be happy.
See you next time on The Kids Are All Right.
It's time to
air guitar in the car
or wherever you are.